Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Away Day Show, the midday show for the week. Nathan's back.
Back again.
From, sounds a bit popular around the fan groups. We had a good episode last week, so thanks for all the support on YouTube, Spotify, Opera Podcast, all that good stuff. Mate, thanks for coming back on.
No, all good.
Interesting, I guess, week in football in general. We had a few big topics to talk about, a few trophies being raised, a few semi-finals to come. Anything stand out to you this weekend in football?
Not really. Probably just the VINICIUS hat-trick, to be honest.
Big man.
Yeah, that's it, to be honest. Not really much else.
Yeah, well, that's perfectly said. That segues us perfectly number one. Probably the biggest, I guess, talking point of the whole, last sort of week and a bit, because the semi-finals are also there in Saudi Arabia on Ronaldo's turf. Vinicius doing his idol proud.
Yeah.
First half hat-trick. Barcelona again a little bit in the mud. 4-1 loss to Real Madrid. Real Madrid lift the Super Copa. I've seen a bit of the mini sort of highlights of this. I don't know about yourself, but what a performance from Real Madrid again.
Yeah, I saw the mini highlights, the same as you. I feel like a bit of an idiot. The last couple of weeks I've been banging on about Arejo, and then he dropped an absolute disaster class.
God.
All the talks around Real Madrid, and as it should be. Like, Vinicius was unbelievable. I thought Rodrigo had a really good game, right wing. Yeah. I thought he could have scored more than one, and the fact that it was only 4-1, it's a bit. Lewandowski with a really good goal as well, but just Barca were just all over the place defensively, weren't they?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe a bit of the hangover of because they bossed last year. I think we can agree. They were
100%,
10 points clear in the league, but it felt like 20. It never felt like it was ever in doubt. Yeah. And it was the defense. Was it like 16 goals conceded or something at some point in the year?
Mental defense. Now they're playing this high line, and they were all over the place. Like, Koundé was no idea what he was doing.
And they tried the midfield four again. Like, it didn't really work.
Yeah, no.
And I think it's just worrying because Xavi said, we played as well this season as we did last season. I think he's trying to cover for something. I think I'm not saying sack Xavi, no way in the world, but if it keeps going the way it's going and you finish 10 points off Girona and you don't win anything, because, I don't think they're going to win a Champions League either. Yeah, no. Like, you're going to really have to go for the Copa del Rey. If you're into no trophies, with this squad you've got FFP problems as well. I think we're hearing they can't sign anyone this January.
Yeah, no.
It just gets a little shaky. And I just don't know, from where you come from, where do you reckon they go next? Because a bit of a hole right now.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to sort of figure out what to do with them at the moment, because it doesn't matter what Xavi did last year.
It's the past.
He could win the Champions League this year. He's still going to be under pressure next year, because it's the expectation of the club. And the fans as well, they're mental, the expectations they put on the players and the manager. And Xavi's one of the greatest ever midfielders to play.
Exactly.
Not just for Barcelona, but the entire world.
All the time, yeah.
Look, first and foremost, he's just got to show up that defence. Obviously, I think their forward line is where they need to invest, but at the moment, defensively, they're just all over the place. Arejo's playing right back, and I get why, because the last couple of meetings he's actually done quite well on Vinicius. But he's your skipper, put him at the heart of that defence.
Make him lead the team.
Yeah. Trust whoever you want to play right back. Sergio Roberto can play there. Yeah. If you put someone else there, don't move Koundé and Arejo, and just stop playing this high line, because it's ridiculous.
The high line, they got actually both teams, because I think Real Madrid also had quite a high line in this game as well. The first half was just end to end to end, and Lunin made some big saves as well. As much as Barca were bad overall, they had a little between the 10-minute and 35-minute mark. They could have scored 2 or 3.
Yeah, they had good chances.
Lunin's a big save. I think they hit the post as well. It's it was just what's going on here?
He got close with his left foot, but
both teams, I think, when I think of Ancelotti, I think of, not a high line. I think of, defensively orientated first.
Keeps the ball.
Yeah, keep the ball. Yeah. Let the superstars have some moments of brilliance and win you games of football. Yeah. Even Barcelona last season, this whole high line you're talking about, they were basically on the halfway line for that Rodrigo cross to Vinicius. And then Vinicius' first goal as well ran the first from his own half.
The pass from Bellingham wasn't even that good. It was just the defence was...
And they just caught out because he made the run from inside his own half. They were all flat-footed.
Yeah.
The waiting at the pass wasn't great. Decent pass. But again, you're exposing yourself like that. And I don't know. Maybe it's they try to develop the squad in a different direction, and we see what Pep does a lot of years. He has a poor start, but they always finish well. I just don't see where Barca can finish well or fix things up. So just a little worried, right? Yeah, no transfers in January.
Yeah, no.
The Araujo thing's a big thing. We both had him, or we both thought he'd be in the team of the year discussion. And then you've got all these just disappointing performance. We talked about last week about Pedri, Gavi. They're basically the leaders at 20 and 19 and 21 in the midfield. There's a lot of underperformers at the moment, and I just feel like
a couple of passengers at Barca at the minute. And with the high line as well, if you're going to play a high line, you can't have your keeper standing on his 6-yard box as well. Like, he needs to be a sweep. That's why Liverpool can afford to play a high line. And even when Kelleher plays as the backup, we still play it because he's been taught how to play it. Now, Ter Stegen didn't play, but you'd like to think the backup keeper might not be as good, but would have an idea.
Come out, He left himself in no man's land. That first goal, you're right. He sort of half came out, and then Vinicius said, one touch around you, see you later, goal. Vinicius, we sort of touched on it before, what a game, hat-trick. People have been, a bit critical on him this season. I guess first time experiencing some injuries, I think is the first thing to touch on. But then also, people don't reckon he's performed as well. I think it's a little harsh, but he's gone and shut the critics up in this game here.
Big time,
and we talked about it a few times, Mbappe potentially joining that front three. That is that's just frightening, because Vinicius back to his best now, hopefully stays a bit more fit. And you agree, and I also see as well, Rodrigo's probably, without scoring, the goals, was probably one of the one goal, probably was one of the best players on the pitch.
He was very good.
He added Mbappe to that because Hostler's sort of been a passenger. He's been a massive passenger this season. That front three is electric. Barcelona can give it up.
I don't even. I think it's going to happen. Like we spoke about last week, Mbappe needs to make that move, but just please don't happen. Just give everyone else a chance at the Champions League. You know what I mean? Go to your own Super League. Just first Barca every week, and
and leave us all alone.
Exactly.
It is frightening, and my bold predictions, I guess, somewhat coming true.
The treble.
It's sort of a weaker treble if you count this trophy, but it still counts. Supercopa counts. Yeah. Champions League, La Liga, they're looking good. Girona drew on the weekend.
They drew, drop points.
After we put the ringer on them on the weekend. We said, how good they are. They draw to bottom of the table. So, a bit of a stinker there. But first trophy down. Ancelotti now equals Zidane's 11 trophies for Real Madrid, second most trophy winning manager at Real Madrid. He'll go down as surely top 5, right?
Oh, 100%.
I just don't feel again, he's someone that's not appreciated enough as well. Again, not flashy like Pep, or not like the classic Sir Alex Ferguson or Wenger's. We don't hear enough about what Ancelotti's done.
It's not kind of groundbreaking, kind of changed the football world kind of football, but it's just consistent finals, consistent winning, and he's managing at the biggest clubs, and he's still as you said, doesn't really get the recognition that he probably deserves.
Obviously, he does it at a degree, but I think nowhere near what he deserves.
Nowhere near.
It's one thing to manage Real Madrid. It's one thing to win at Real Madrid. We've seen some managers like Lopetegui went there and just it all fell apart. Other than for Zidane recently, same sort of auras. They just command that respect. And I think the difference here, talking about Xavi and Ancelotti just is a winning manager. He just wins trophies. In a cup final, if I'm picking a manager to take me out there, as much as Xavi can get me 90 points in a league, but if I want to go win a trophy tomorrow, Ancelotti just has that thing about him where he just
knows how to win.
Just knows
how to win.
11 trophies for Real Madrid, it's remarkable. So they're off to a good start, and as we said to the last week as well, a few more problems for Barca opening up. Yep. So pressure on there. We mentioned Girona and Leverkusen last week. Obviously, Girona get the draw. But someone who did win just was Leverkusen on the weekend.
Thank you, Leverkusen.
I'm about to say, we would look like frauds at both teams, and both teams to drop points. I actually watched this game back in the end. Very interesting game in terms of Leverkusen could have been 4-0, 5-0 up at half time. They had chance after chance after chance, hit the post. Grimaldo and Frimpong were just dominating. They just couldn't find the back of the net.
Unbelievable. I thought Frimpong was good, but he was a bit wasteful.
That's good. With the ball, the ball is fit. Yeah,
but he was still good. But Grimaldo, he had a shot in the first half, hit the bar.
It was a belter.
Obviously, for the goal, he's crossing to the box to get the assist. He's just such a good left back at the moment, and the way that they're playing, like, is there a player in the world that has suited more to a manager in the way that he wants to set up?
Good with the ball at his feet. Rightly said, not wasteful in the final third, can score, can assist. And whenever he has the ball, you feel like something's going to happen here. Like pace, a change of pace, coolness, calmness on the ball. I just think, like, especially for the league, now it looks like that's going to be a 2-horse race. Like, these teams look night and day better than everyone else. If you don't need him to defend and you can just let him almost be a second winger, you're going to score eventually. There's only so much defending you can do against this side, and you give any second of space. Like, that goal was just half a second. He had to pick the pass.
Great ball in, great touch, and a great finish from Palacios.
What a finish as well. And like what, that's 76%, I think I wrote down.
They actually played really well. It was just one of those games where final pass, final touch just wasn't quite happening.
Like Boniface obviously is away. Schick had about 4 or 5 he should have scored, and you're thinking, oh, they're really going to miss Boniface.
Is this where it kind of starts.
But guess what? Xavi's side, Xavi Alonso's side keeps going well.
He's still unbeaten in Bundesliga.
So 26 games unbeaten to start the season, I think, in all comps in terms of Germany.
Losing the Europa League either, so.
They are the first side to do that now in professional German football. So you think of some of the great sides that come before them. No, they've gone and done it before them. So very dangerous. As you said, Europa League, maybe the league, they're in the cup as well. So again, there's a lot of teams this season. We touched on it a bit last season, but we've seen some new faces just sparking up, and I ain't complaining, especially with how they're playing.
No, it's good. I think if Frimpong and Grimaldo, if they keep going the way they're going,
sky's the limit.
They could win. What can't they win? What can't they win? Like, because their football's that good, and it's like you can't stop it. Just with how their fullbacks operate, it's ridiculous.
It's just it's one of these things. I say a lot with Man City is the way to get at these teams is not to respect them as much. You have to try and get at them because if you just try and sit in and absorb, there's only so much you can take when there's wingers, there's fullbacks, there's 2 great number 10s in behind, there's normally a great striker that's clinical as well. It's like you can't defend against all of this because you're going to break eventually. That's what happened on the weekend. It's just that over time, you might not get out to Grimaldo that one time, and he'll just pick the pass or hit the shot. And it's just like, you're right. With those two in the form they're at, with that midfield looking just incredible at the moment, and the defence just does its job, and they're so good on the ball, they're so good in possession.
You'd hate to be a fullback or a winger in the Bundesliga
right now. No, you would not want that task.
Because you're going to have to run your ass off for 90 minutes, non-stop.
And you'll be worked 100% the whole game. Like, it's just overwhelming. But yeah, another massive result for them. 4 points clear of Bayern. I know that the game in hand, but as I say this time of year, as long as you're the points are all the things that matter. Games in hand mean nothing.
Doesn't matter how you play this time of year, just get the results. Exactly. And that's what they did.
Jumping across to this Serie A now. Inter, big winners, still top of Serie A. Juventus are in touching distance, but I just feel like there's a bit of a gap, mental gap where I don't think it's a gettable gap. Like what Lautaro Martinez 18 goals, Thuram's been a good sign for them. He's in 9 assists, leading the assists. They're just leading all the charts. Like I don't know about you, but I just don't see this gap closing.
I know Juventus are close. Obviously, if they win, I think they're about 2 points.
2 or 3 off,
But like Juventus are winning games sort of 1-0, 2-1. It's quite scrappy. They're not scoring a hell of a lot, but
not as much
defensively they're pretty good.
They're very solid, yes.
But like Inter, some of the football they're playing, some of the goals they scored
on the weekend.
I think it was Mkhitaryan and then Thuram laid it back, and they're a very good side. And I know it's obviously the gap's quite close, but the difference in first and second, I think, is
it's one of those.
Way more.
I think it's one of those leagues where it looks close, but I think
it's really not. Yeah.
If you really look at it, I think it's a much bigger gap than what we're thinking. And another seat, obviously, they come off the Champions League final loss last year, and there's many teams in the past that have gone to a Champions League final. Even Tottenham, they went to a Champions League final, and then it all sort of fell apart. The fact they've stayed at it, they've stayed good, is a big thing, and especially they've been so consistent. You look at the last 5 years, AC had their moment. Napoli had their moment, but Inter's has been they've always been consistent figure. They've had no drop off. A lot of these Serie A teams have had those. We talked about Napoli last week, had that drop off. Juventus have already had a rough few years. AC have had moments where they're not there, but Inter's just been consistently there the whole time. Yeah,
and it's like very similar to Leverkusen in terms of like how high their fullbacks are. Like DeMarco, he's
dangerous,
bombing up and down there. He's a dangerous player. But like just like Mkhitaryan's been really good. I think he got a couple of assists. Calhanoglu's been good. And obviously Lautaro Martinez. Like, night and day from the World Cup. Lautaro Martinez.
I was about to say, the most wasteful player. Everyone was blaming him.
Everyone was memeing him.
Yeah.
And going to cost Messi
Messi's
a World
curse.
Cup. Now he's banging them in
He's
no
a
matter what.
superstar now.
So, yeah.
And another thing, we're talking about DeMarco, and obviously Euros coming up as well. That's going to be a threat for Italy. Obviously, not much talk about them because of what Spain and France and England have got, and Netherlands, I get. But everyone forgets that Italy are the holders. I know they missed the World Cup, but there's a few players that, I mean, like the likes of DeMarco.
They can shock a few teams.
They can shock a few teams. They're going to be around the place, definitely. In terms of Inter, wait, are we thinking any chance to ruffle some feathers in the Champions League this season?
I think there's a chance, but it's just some of the teams are just like Real Madrid, Man City. Again, it's those two you'd fancy over them, but sort of in the tier below, Inter are definitely there.
The goals from Lautaro.
Yeah.
It just goes under the... I think Syria in general sort of goes under the radar, some of the teams, especially last year with both Milan teams being close.
Yeah, big time under the radar.
With the way Lautaro's playing as well, and obviously gets memed, like you said, but he's got to be up there in discussion some of the best players like this season, the form he's in, 18 goals. It's not an easy league in terms of breaking down back fours or back fives. So I think you have to sort of chuck his name in some more discussions now.
I think with like Inter and AC last year in particular, even this year with Inter, it's kind of like an expectation that even if they get to a semi or a final, Man City or Madrid are going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's like, not really spoken about as maybe it should have.
There's
an expectation that they're not going to win it because there are two teams that are just far superior.
Yeah, that's the depth of the players, aren't they, realistically?
No.
Just shame because Italian team to win a Champions League.
Oh, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
There's been some times that Juventus sort of run.
Better than Real Madrid always bloody been there, honestly.
Real Madrid every season. Now Man City going to get there every season.
Win it. Them and Man City.
It's going to be a long few years if Man City keep going all the way. We're going to be...
Man City, we've got Mbappe going to Madrid. Bloody hell. I'll take Europa League football, honestly.
We could see in the same final for 10 years. Man City and Real Madrid again. Mbappe versus Haaland yet again. It could be a very long 10 years to come.
Very.
And they've obviously got the Supercoppa semi. I think that's coming up next few days as well. I think they're also in Saudi as well.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know why everyone wants to play in Saudi.
Trying to promote Saudi football.
So they got Lazio there, so they can same as Real, I guess, an early trophy.
Lazio.
Yeah, I think Fiorentina's on the other side.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure the other side, but yeah, it could be another early trophy, another big side. So we could be seeing separation in La Liga and in Syria.
Yep.
Now we're in the midst of January transfers. Not really known to be the biggest time of the year. We talked a little bit on other shows about who people need to sign and sell, but we basically said it probably for next season. But there has been some memorable January transfers along the way. We've gone and selected 5, just I guess memorable ones are our favourite 5 January transfers.
Yep.
A lot of Premier League based, I got to be honest, because not many other clubs outside the Premier League makes these big moves.
I've got a few Liverpool ones in here.
But that'd be exciting to have a look at what we think some of our sort of best 5 January transfers are. Get it kicked off. What's your first transfer?
I'll go with Kevin De Bruyne. His move from Chelsea to Wolfsburg.
Yeah,
it's around about sort of 20 million.
Yeah.
When he made the move, I think before he left, he had I think it was about a 6-month loan at Werder Bremen.
Yeah.
And he impressed. He was really good.
Yeah.
And then he got the move to Wolfsburg. And in the 14-15 campaign, he scored about 16 and assisted 27 or something like that. And he won Bundesliga Player of the Year. And it's just obviously I've chosen it because of the player he is now, because I just love watching him. And this was sort of the first step to him becoming that player. And then obviously the year after he got the big move to City, which was I think about 55, 60 million.
Unders what it was.
You could pay double that and it'd still be considered a bargain.
Yeah, exactly. The player he is ridiculous.
So, I thought I'd go with that. I just love Kevin De Bruyne.
It's the butterfly effect, Dave. That move never happened.
Yeah.
God knows what we'd be today.
Chelsea's loss. 10 Cities.
Add another Chelsea player to the list of Chelsea losses.
Chelsea L.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't spell Chelsea without
the L. I've seen that so many times in the last 6 months. All right, my first. Let's pick one. You'll probably have it, so I'll say it as well. I'm going with Virgil from Southampton to Liverpool. And again, I think always a bit of storyline behind it because it could have been done in the summer. Didn't really want to get him for that amount. Ended up buying the bullet 75 million pounds, 84 million euros, around that mark. At the time, everyone's like, you're paying 84 million euros for this, Southampton bottom half player is really that good. Then just like that. I think he joined and became 10 times better.
Yeah, he scored on his debut against Everton, the header.
And ever since that moment, probably the best centre-back across that period of time. I don't think anyone, in terms of consistency and big moments and trophies, I don't think you can top Virgil van Dijk.
At the time of signing him, I was quite nervous because I know it's different positions in different clubs, but Chelsea signed Kepa, and I was like, they spent a shit ton of money on him, and he was awful, right? But we signed Van Dijk, and it's like first time watching him, you can, as a fan, you can like kind of see, like obviously when you first saw Martinez, you must be like, okay, like he's going to be a good player.
You like this guy,
yeah. And it was the same with Virgil, and obviously he scored on his debut against Everton, like the perfect debut scoring against,
the rivals.
But yeah, like he's had a couple of like years where he's been like last year wasn't very good. The very start of this year was a bit sort of standoffish.
A little bit off, yeah.
Ever since probably the Brighton game where we drew 2-2, I think he's been faultless. I think he's been brilliant. Yeah. But I mean, in his peak, I don't think he's top 5 centre back of all time in the Prem, but I think he's sort of around the 7th to 8th mark.
It's got to be close. And I feel like he won't get the recognition because he's not English passport holding. Like you're going to put the Ferdinands and the Terrys.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, if I'm making a Premier League all-time 11, I'm chucking Vidic and Van Dijk next to him. Like, you got the Rolls Royce in Van Dijk, and you got the real like hard nut in Vidic, and he might not get that in that conversation, but I think he definitely needs to be around that top 5.
100%, yeah. It's just, it's
especially
just like
the era he's played in as well. He's played in the Man City era, and he's won every trophy. Like they've won FA Cup, you've won the Carabao Cup, you won the Champions League and the Premier League. In the era that Pep Guardiola and Man City have dominated world football, you still won every single trophy. So it's like, how much can you possibly else do? Like, it is really ridiculous in that regard.
It's just hard because, like, in terms of like all time, you got to think of like Vidic, Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, Vincent Kompany, these types of players that did it for longer periods than Van Dijk did. Van Dijk's peak's probably 2 years, 18, 19, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And then obviously got the big injury from Pickford. I thought the season where we won both domestic cups, he was really good.
Very good.
And people say like that was like Virgil hasn't been the same since obviously his peak, but that season he was ridiculous. And then the year after was where he sort of
had a little
drop off.
Yeah.
But yeah, just outrageous defender.
And I think the drop off is not like ridiculous. It's just that he's exposing that. Yeah. He'll go in for the tackle and miss it, but he'll still recover and probably make up for it as well. Yeah. It's just that people want to pick on the best players of the world for a reason. That's why.
I think he can be a little bit kind of complacent in his like position. I think he thinks his positioning's a bit better than it actually is at times.
Yeah. When you can close space as quick as him. Like he's, in terms of like, I guess us watching the game, we didn't get to see really much of Vidic and all these other guys before Terry at their best. In terms of us watching Premier League football, as much as we watch a lot of Premier League football, I don't think I've seen anyone close spaces and outbody and just like overwhelm players like Virgil van Dijk does. It's just like he's not here, then he's here. Like it's just like, and then how do you go past him? It's just when you're watching from all the way in Australia on a screen, and sometimes it makes everyone look tiny. He just commands all that space. That's probably the biggest compliment I can give the guy. Where like when you see him, like how are we gonna get past him? What are we gonna do to stop this guy?
I mean, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh on him, but it's like if he played with a higher level of like aggression and intensity, like oh my god,
he'd be the best ever.
Honestly, he'd be a joke. He already is, but like I don't think there's a striker in the world that would get past him if he played with that, like just this aggressive. Just I'm gonna leave it all out there. But he's still one of the greatest. He's one of those
like dopey sort of characters that roams around. Yeah, but absolutely, probably one of the best.
One of the best for sure. Yeah.
Your next pick you going for?
I'll go with another Liverpool one. I'll go with Felipe Coutinho from Inter to Liverpool.
Big move. Liverpool had a lot of these moves. I had to look through.
About sort of 8.5, 9 million at the time.
What he did.
Obviously, once Suarez left, we went through a bit of a rough patch where we were bringing in guys like, Barini was playing and Lazar Markovic from Portugal, and it's like like watching these guys, it's like bloody hell. But then Coutinho would just pop out of nowhere and score an absolute screamer. Yeah, and it's a shame that we couldn't win anything when he was with us, but on his day, I mean, he's just unbelievable to watch. Just unbelievable.
Biggest shame that we didn't see more of him and Suarez.
Yeah.
Because he was sort of just making his name for himself alongside Gerrard that season where it all sort of fell apart at the end. I think that's just one of the biggest things I'd wondered. I wish I'd seen. Like Suarez, maybe 2 more seasons with Coutinho. That was when Coutinho was like heating up.
Sturridge and like a young Sterling and
a fit Sturridge, and it's like that's. We only got to see really one season of it, realistically. And Gerrard was playing incredible at his ripe old age of whatever 34, whatever he was. It was like perfect. It was like it was there, and it was just like I wish we had seen that because Barca never worked for him.
He was good at the start, but then he just kind of, just kind of fell off. It was just a pretty quick fall off.
When you're in a team with Messi, I'll touch on a player coming up later in the show. We're going to touch on, but I just feel like when you're in a team with Messi, these sort of players that create and sort of very tricky, you can't really work at Barcelona. It's just unfortunate that you've got probably the best player to ever play the game, does the exact same thing that you do. So you sort of just get.
It just didn't
chucked
fit.
to the side a little bit,
And then we sold him for, like 130 mil, I think it was. And then
got to create the dynasty that you created.
Exactly, by Alisson and Van Dijk. So obviously selling him wasn't all bad, but seeing him go at the time was obviously pretly disappointing.
Was a Premier League legend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Streets will never forget
that prime Coutinho. Let me go. Let's pick a bit of back in time. I touched on it before. Keep the centre-back theme going. I'm going to Nemanja from Spartak to United for 10.5 million euros, which is, I guess, a decent deal at the time for someone that's not 100% known yet. I know Serbians in the Premier League, a few recently, but at that time wasn't probably the known thing. But again, a case of Man United at their peak of their powers, finding some good players. That players are actually going to work. And, in my mind, I think the best centre-back in the Premier League in terms of, again, probably not as long as some of the names we're mentioning, like Terry's and Sol Campbell's and the greats, I guess. But in my eye, I think he's the best.
You have him over Rio Ferdinand?
I have over Rio Ferdinand. Yeah. You need some of those tough nights in there. And he was a leader. He was ferocious. And he created a back line that it was. He allowed Evra to play the way Evra could. He allowed Rio to be, again, the Rolls Royce. And guessing the two of them. It's just... You don't see many of them like Rio Ferdinand anymore. That's why we love Martinez right now at Man United and people love Romero at Tottenham. You don't see these sort of tough-nutted, crazy guys put his head, whether that classic Champions League story where he put his head in front of a boot and he said, if I put my head there, you ain't going to score. That's the mentality that we all love. And, as a centre-back.
Yeah, he's up there with one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a perspective thing, but he's always in everyone's top 5 thing.
I mean, the only time I saw him get rinsed was Old Trafford. Liverpool won 4-1 and Torres took the piss out of him.
Crazy,
I think he might have got sent off that game. Maybe I'm not too sure.
Wouldn't be surprised for
that's literally the only time
anyone's
ever really kind of
gone at him
and
Yeah,
but it just Rolls Royce of a defender, good on the ball.
Leader. A bit ahead in terms of at the feet wasn't too bad either. Yeah,
exactly.
Had the package for Nemanja Vidic.
Yeah,
that's my second pick. My top 5.
I got another Liverpool. I'm just picking Liverpool players.
I'm not being honest. I could have picked a lot, but I knew you were going to pick some, so I just left them out. So
we've done a lot of
great
Luis Suarez is my next one.
Yeah, it had to be as well.
It had to be around sort of 25, 20 mils around there.
Yeah, around that mark.
It came in 2011. His 13-14 season, in terms of strikers in the Premier League, I find it hard to find a better individual season. His 31 league goals.
And 13 assists? Something like that?
Yeah. In terms of the goals, he's Norwich, that was my favourite game of the year at the time. Because he'd score from halfway, he'd flick it over the defender and then smash it top bins. But, it's sad. Obviously, it was sad seeing him go to Barca. But I was not winning that league with Sturridge and a young Sterling and a young Jordan Henderson, Stevie G. That one hurt. That one still hurts.
It feels like a disservice to what you've done that season.
He was just unplayable.
I think, in terms of, doing everything, in terms of the complete strike, we talked about it a lot yesterday actually in the weekend wrap-up show with Flynn here. We're in this era now with these complete strikers of Watkins and Slunky doing a bit of everything. But have we ever seen someone do a bit of everything like Suarez did? I think...
you got Haaland's obviously
It's
last
just goals.
season.
It's just-
Obviously, Henry had some really good seasons. Aguero, obviously Shearer, but like in terms of the quality of goals and just dragging a team to a title that should have nowhere near have been a title. Like that defense was awful. Like obviously Sturridge was underrated. He was a joke. It was like a 20-year-old Sterling.
Yeah,
19.
Sterling hadn't really found out
You
yet.
know, Gerrard was towards the end of
34.
his. Yeah, he was 34. A young Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense was Martin Skirtle.
And was it Sacco and
Sacco. We had Sissoko at left back, and Mignolet in goal gave me nightmares. But to carry a team like that,
that goes to show the effect
exactly,
he had.
Yeah.
I can only think of maybe like Rooney towards like the Ronaldo time where he couldn't just score goals. It's only closest in terms of, because again, I appreciate Haaland, I appreciate Henry, I appreciate these guys, Shearer, they're goal scorers though.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that encapsulated everything that Liverpool had. It was goals, assists, high pace, high tempo. And whenever you think of Liverpool, you just think of like Luis Suarez and that era of Liverpool. It was ridiculous.
He was going to leave before this, and then Gerrard sort of convinced him because he was going to go to Barca, and then Gerrard convinced him like, we got a squad that one more push, and then obviously we know what happens.
We won't touch on that. PTSD, but PTSD for Nathan. Absolutely. I would have had him, but again, I knew you were going to have him, so I skipped him over. Let's go with a more moderner one. Bruno Fernandes, Sporting to United, 65 million euros. Yep. Again, another one that was going to come in summer. Classic Man United, that doesn't want to pay the money. They end up paying more in January, but hey, that's the way it works. Typical United. Out, In terms of an 18-month period, from that January to the end of the next season, was anyone better in football than Bruno Fernandes? It was incredible.
As much as I hate him. Even though I said I love him. I convinced you to say you love him on the weekend.
Even though I love him.
As much as I hate him.
We called him last week. We called him
the Liverpool fans, I think the first ever Liverpool fans say he loves Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. But no, as much as I hate him, you can't ignore the impact he made and the goals he scored. From Andreas Pereira, who at the time, I know he's good for Fulham now, but watching him then under Ole, Jesus, that must have been
grim scenes.
I don't know how he got past that.
Was it Dan James?
Yeah, Dan James on the right.
Dan James and
Martial up top with Pereira behind. You have McTominay and Fred.
McFred. Take me back, eh?
What a duo.
But you sprinkle Bruno and then all of a sudden, Champions League team, being PSG away.
You got top 4 that year,
Top 4, yeah. And then obviously he wasn't as big in that year that we were like, we got top against, we beat Burnley, we were top of the Premier League. And that was obviously as it slowed down again. But that was him and Pogba, and we were like, is there a better duo in the Premier League? Into the combination
Pogba as well,
Bruno just lifted this team. Another way to say it was a mid-team that was
it was a
7th team, 6th team in the Premier League with no creativity, no output, counter-attacking, inshallah. All of a sudden it's Bruno pinging balls. Like on the weekend we saw in the live watches, pinging balls left, right and centre. And I think he's almost hurt his own legacy by being so good at the start that now everyone has this expectation he's going to score 20 a season and have 15 assists because he just hit the ground running. And I don't think we've seen anyone hit the ground running as good as Bruno Fernandes in terms of 18 months. Not a better player in football. I think Ronaldo, Messi, probably the only two you think would be better than him at the moment. So I
think now there might have been a little drop off in his performance, but it's because he's trying so hard to create and defend.
Yeah,
he's trying so hard to get this team going. To get he gave Rashford a penalty against Everton, tried to get him going. That hasn't really worked. I know he scored on the weekend, but he was pretty horrible. But he's just trying so hard to pull that team through.
I always say it Antonio's been harsh on him a little bit, and having the luckiness to go and watch a game live and see that Brighton game. It just goes to show you, I think, why I always seen him as a captain, but the ability, he was playing as a 6 because no one else could do the job. He said, I'm going to go and play as a 6, I'll play as a right back, whatever, and just pick the ball up for me and just ping balls out. And it's just incredible. He sacrifices everything basically for this team. As much as everyone complains, and it's fair enough about all his moaning and this, that and the other, has there been a better servant over the last 6-7 years than Bruno Fernandes? He gives everything. Doesn't miss a minute. Creates so much. Doesn't stop running. Yeah, he might whinge and dive and stuff like that, but he works his socks off. Right?
I'll be the first one to say why is he whinging? Why is he complaining? But it's because he cares. It's because he wants to win. It's because he's sick of getting smashed.
Mediocrity.
Mediocrity. So
absolutely.
it's because he cares.
Absolutely, and that's why he's in my list for me. Your number four, your fourth.
I got one more.
You can do the crossover, haven't we?
I've got Thiago Silva going from Fluminense to AC.
Big move.
I think it was about 10 mil. I think it was in 2009.
Decent money back.
Not bad money. He didn't play. He signed, and then I don't think he played for a couple of months. I think he sort of had to like buy his time. But then when he played, he was ridiculous.
That team.
I mean, 2011 they won the league. I think he made about 33 appearances, and he was their player of the season.
Ridiculous.
Which was sort of the coming of him.
Yeah.
And then he got the big move to PSG. It would have been good for Milan fans and Serie to see him there for longer. But that was, again, another one of those players where, like, I didn't pick him because of the transfer at the time. I've picked him because, like,
what he's
now, like, he's probably my favourite centre-back of all time. I just love watching him play.
Watching now, probably one of the best centre-backs I like to watch in the Premier League.
I love watching him.
He's 38, 39. Doesn't look a day over 20.
Yeah, no. He's still their best defender, probably up there with their best player, along with Cole Palmer. So,
yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, he's an absolute warrior.
That was the start of him. So that AC Milan, Thiago Silva. Talk about streets won't forget. That's a streets won't forget.
That is a streets won't forget one.
Yeah, long sleeve AC Milan kit. That is Thiago Silva to a T.
Yeah.
Now I've got two more on Fluminense. We'll touch this one. My fourth player is Marcelo.
Yeah.
From Fluminense to Madrid, 6.5 million in 2009.
Yeah. Very good.
And again, at the start wasn't any superstar, but when you think of Real Madrid, you think of Marcelo, you think of Ronaldo, that left hand flank.
Yeah.
Talk about dynasties. That is
tormenting La Liga and the world.
And Champions League for 10 years straight. One of the greatest combinations. I think Tony was touching on, if you were like Messi, you want to go play with your mates, would Ronaldo do that? And I was like, does Ronaldo really have any mates? Marcelo's number one. He's that guy, and that bond, that relationship, and that combination. Ronaldo joins a few years later, maybe a year later, I think, and they've just ever since tormented defences. And when you think of left backs, the first person you put like an all-time, I'm thinking every era 11. You'd almost just lock in Marcelo. Incredible. Reinvented what it means to a fullback as well, attacking up the bar line. And we might not ever see someone like Marcelo.
We've gone from Ronaldo and Marcelo. We thought, right, that's over. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can relax.
We can breathe.
Now we've got Vinicius and bloody Mendy and Bellingham and Tchouaméni.
And now Davies is linked there as well.
Davies,
That's basically the next coming of Marcelo as well. So you've got that to deal with as well. So that's my 4. And number 5, another one similar to what you've done. I've got Erling Haaland from Salzburg to BVB. 45 million. It was a lot of the time. Can he do it in a bigger league, a top 5 league? Absolutely good. Sancho, Royce.
Scored on his debut as well. Came off from the bench and
just the amount of clips that Bundesliga still rinks the clips of him back in the day. Just making like the most ridiculous hat tricks in like 10, 15 minutes. He was different in that move straight away. It felt like forever the amount of goals he scored, but he was only there for just over a year and a bit. He just took the league by storm.
Yeah, he was
deserving of a team of the year. Then makes the big move. It all, again, butterfly effect, but what a player, and hasn't stopped scoring since he made that move. So that was my 5th.
Do you see him staying at City for the rest of his career? Do you see him making a move to Madrid?
I don't think he stays there forever. The thing about Madrid, if they can do it, if Mbappe...
Oh my God. If
they can do it.
Or when.
When they can do it. When Perez wants to dip into his pocket a little bit deep. I feel like he has to move. But again,
it's just hard
to... We talk about this now. Man City now don't have that little brother aura or that little club aura.
No.
They've won a Champions League. They've won a treble. So technically, moving away from Man City would be a step down. And I know Real Madrid and Barcelona still have that whole prestige, but I think we can agree now the Premier League's been the best league for the last 4 years, I think, or 5 years. Touch and go before that. Probably La Liga gets the bet there, but... Do you go to a league like that and potentially be second fiddle to Mbappe, or do you go and try and compete against Mbappe at Barcelona? If Barcelona can sort their money stuff out. Would it be right to leave Pep? Like, there's all these different things, and he's a winner. He only plays to win. I don't think he cares other than for winning and scoring goals. So maybe continue to stay at City. I'd love to see him leave just to help us out, help our 2 clubs win some things.
That'd be nice.
But wouldn't he suit Real to a T? If he only has to score goals, we got Valverde, you got Tchouaméni, you've got Bellingham, you've got Vinicius, you've got Rodrigo, Mbappe potentially. That's
I mean, surely they'd have to sell like
someone.
a Rodrigo or like a Valverde or someone to.
Yeah, I'd
if
assume,
it was to
you'd get
happen.
rid of either. Well, I guess Vinicius is their guy. You'd have to get one of those wingers though. And
Maybe one of the midfielders because you can sort of replace them. Like obviously
and play Mbappe as like a 10.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. They're midfield, but you can replace them.
Yeah.
I think the only I can't really see him leaving, to be honest, unless the charges mean
they have to sort of
they have to, or they get like relegated, or they like they have to sell some players, or I don't know.
What's your thoughts on all that? So Everton now
Everton and
up for
Nottingham,
another charge. Nottingham Forest, which about time I think they. But then Man City still no hearing back from them.
The like disagreement between like fans and like pundits. It's not that Forest and Everton are getting charged because they deserve it, right? They've breached certain rules and stuff. It's the fact that nothing's happened to Man City, nothing's happened to Chelsea, and I know it's a lot harder than you like go to League One or whatever. I know it's a lot harder than that, but it's the fact that they've given these sort of lower, not as financially big, teams punishment already, and then you have a look at Man City and like
injustice.
Hasn't really been anything there. There's been talks of like Chelsea. Have they breached anything? Not really anything going on there. So it's a bit
115. There's going to be one of them. That's the thing. I think.
That's the thing. Like,
can you not go in chronological order? Because I think this dates back to like the early 2010s. I think these are dating back to this. Why don't you just go through each single case one by one? If Everton's are in between at Man City's 65th, go ahead, do Everton. But it feels like they're just picking out. I think what's happening is because Everton's are just like single offences or like easy to, deduce that they're wrong, they've gone and done that. But amongst all 115 alleged breaches, there's got to be at least 10 in there.
I mean, the only possible reason I can give is I read something, I don't know if it's true, but I think they found out about the charges illegally. So they have to find a way, like a legal way. Which, like, I don't know if that's true or not. I
would not be surprised.
I saw like I think it was a comment or something, and it got like loads of replies and like likes and stuff. But like again, you would think like even if like they're guilty of one charge, like why not give them the charge now?
Yeah.
Why is it not a loss of points now? Because you're affecting other teams
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah, but it's affecting Everton's chances of staying up.
We might give Villa more of it. Like Villa would feel way more confident.
Villa go and splash the cash in January to try and win the title.
Like they're looking at Liverpool. Like you can't. Obviously, we're top of the league, but Salah's not going to be.
It's nervy
we'll
times.
see how Liverpool go. They could drop points. Arsenal aren't in great shape.
No.
Why can't we go on and push for the title? But obviously, with City being there, it's kind of, So you're affecting teams now by not giving them any punishment. And then you're giving Everton and Nottingham charges now, which is affecting them.
Which is going to send them down, basically.
Send them down.
It's funny because I've seen it was always mocked up like who wins the titles because they might go and just do that, like the reverse, go back and just sort it out like that. But then it just gets so messy. Like what has to happen is the points have to be deducted, so it stays the same through everyone. But hypothetically, it all affects the past. Yeah, 21 times. So I think you're 20. You'll be 22.
21 or 21.
How many did you come second for?
Like twice.
So you'd be 21, we'd be 21 as well. How good that for you?
Yeah, twice I think. Yeah.
I feel like it has to be points deduction. It just feels wrong to
it's the only,
past.
Will Everton be like just a points deduction again, or do you think
I
it'll
think
be like
another points deduction?
More than 10 points? Or?
I think it might be another. It depends how badly they breached it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But again, this all dates back to COVID time. It just feels so harsh.
Yeah, it does.
Because they were trying to push for a European.
Because it was 2021. Where
they got like Hammers and they got Idrissa Gay for big money, and it's just like they're trying to push for Europe. Yeah. They were paying. They were paying Ancelotti to cut.
Yeah, they paid. Huge
so they had
money,
all these wages.
Yeah.
And the stadium was being built, and there was no fans coming. It just was like such a tough. Whereas Nottingham Forest, I don't have no sympathy for them. They just spent on 45 different players.
That was when they got promoted to the Premier.
Yeah, and they just like sold players.
Everyone knew that was stupid, but they still did it anyway.
And they still went on and did it. Yeah, so that I don't feel sympathy. But Everton I sort of have a bit of sympathy for. As much as a Liverpool fan, I feel like you'd have a little tiny bit of sympathy.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah,
because obviously, like
you breach.
Rules are rules, but the frustration is why is there no movement on the City case in particular?
We don't like City around here. Anyway,
even though we have a shirt,
I don't have a shirt. I have to have it just because we have a lot of games that they play. Do you just run through again to round up the segment your 5 that you put in there?
So in no particular order, I had Virgil van Dijk, Luis Suarez, Philippe Coutinho,
Yep.
Thiago Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne.
Said. And then I had Bruno, Virgil, Van Dijk, Erling Haaland, Marcelo, and Nemanja Vidic. So good, nice spread there.
Yeah,
Once
nice
again,
spread.
very Premier League orientated.
Yep.
When I was looking through all the history, Premier League clubs are the only ones that seem to sign players in January. It goes to show that.
Even when I was like, why is... I'm trying to like...
Yeah, I went
like,
top
add a
10
bit
in
different,
history to like just get an idea of what was going on. All I see is top 10
lot of
Premier League.
players.
I was like, any
And
game
like the
do something else?
occasional like Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, the other one. I had to really look to find the Marcelo and make sure Nemanja Vidic really moved. Yeah, all these other ones.
That Marcelo one, that's a good shout.
I was very happy I found that one.
Very
Yeah,
good shout.
100%. We'll go back to Germany now, real quick, and touch on Borussia Dortmund and Jadon Sancho and to a lesser extent Ian Maatsen as well. Let me just get your
how long
thoughts
do we have
on
for Sancho?
We've got about a day and a half now. I want to get your thoughts on Sancho. You obviously had a little bit on the live watch along, but for those who haven't really watched that, your thoughts on the whole drama, I guess.
Where do I start? Yeah, I mean it's a good move for Man United and the player. Just kind of get rid of that whole sort of drama. I asked you during the live if like you want him to succeed because obviously you want Ten Hag to stay for as long as possible, right? And I don't see him playing again for Man United while Ten Hag's there. Even if Ten Hag leaves, I don't see him playing because I just think the fans would just there wouldn't be any sort of appreciation as far as like I can't see it anyway. But like it's good for Sancho, I guess, just to get away from that whole situation.
Yeah.
Ten Hag can finally put that to bed. No more questions in the media, please. I'm sick of seeing Fabrizio post, this is what Ten Hag said about Sancho. Honestly, it's every day. But no, it's finally time that both parties sort of moved on. And, you know, I think Sancho got an assist when he came on the other day.
I'd say 20 minutes, it's an assist.
I mean, I don't think it's sort of... people saying it's going to look bad for the Bundesliga. I don't think it is. I think it's just players just suit different leagues better. Yeah. So if he does well, great. If he doesn't, you know, don't really care, to be honest. He's not Liverpool, so...
Yeah, it doesn't really impact you. Because I said it on the watch line, like, everyone's second team's BVB. Like, everyone has this own soft spot. I think because of that Jurgen Klopp's style.
They're just good at developing players.
Yeah, everyone has that soft spot for the Marco Reus. Everyone likes Marco Reus. So in that regard, I'm not complaining. And see, the funniest thing was in that sort of mini documentary they put together for YouTube, the first thing he said was sorry 3 times to the physio. And everyone's like, the bloke was there for 5 minutes and he said sorry 3 times.
He just couldn't say sorry. He couldn't take 2 seconds to say I'm sorry.
And he's posting social media, so he's really sticking it to Ten Hag. And actually, I might segue that a little bit later, but there's I think a lot going on with Ten Hag with other former players as well. But I want to see him succeed. Jadon Sancho is a great player. And you talk about Jude, Haaland, Sancho, and Royce, like that little mini era they had there. Yeah. We all loved watching that happen. Like, I was hooked watching that team play because it was creativity, it was fun, it was exciting, it was youthful, and there was just so much excitement around that group. And I just think Sancho at his best, we saw it literally in this game. He had 40, I think maybe 30, 40 minutes. He was running at defenders. He was looking to play the ball, get it back, be quick, be agile. And you're right, it might not look bad in the Bundesliga. It's just the way the leagues are. The Bundesliga is a little bit more open at the back. You aren't getting the overload in defenders and midfielders helping out in fullback positions. Because at United, he was forced to play with his back to goal. It was receive the ball and try and play that way. And that's like, as much as Jadon Sancho is good with the ball at his feet, we're not seeing the best of what he came for, which was attacking defenders, running defenders, using his trickery. And the first thing we saw, for the assist, he gets in behind, cuts the ball across to Marco Reus and slots it away. And it's him running in behind a back line. It's him attacking defenders, facing goal, staying defenders up. That's the Jadon Sancho we want to see. And maybe just it wasn't suited for the Premier League. It doesn't look bad in the Bundesliga. But it doesn't look bad in the Bundesliga. It doesn't look good in the Premier League. It might look good in the Premier League in terms of the level it's at. But it's just the way the player suits.
Does that annoy you as a United fan? Like seeing him get the ball and run? Because there were so many times he'd get the ball and he'd it was so slow and it was so predictable. He'd always cut back, play to the midfielder or play to the fullback.
Yeah, reverse the ball, never go. And it does kill me because I really want to see him go and kill it. Because I thought,
he's a good player.
We got a direct winger in Rashford, and we got someone a little bit more technical, but can still go at the back line. Sancho, their best mates is set for it. Blah blah blah. And I just thought it was meant to be, right?
Yeah, it's just
he can play the number 10 if we didn't play number 10, like he did at Dortmund, but it's never quite. And maybe again, it's systems as well. He's played under what? True. Ole, Ranić, Carrick, Ten Hag.
Even Carrick's in there, bloody hell.
Like Carrick had 3 games, but again, to really draw it
still,
out.
Different managers, different personalities.
He's been there for 3 years?
Yeah.
And he's had under 4 managers?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
No wonder.
No consistency.
Yeah, no wonder some of the players are so inconsistent.
No structure, yeah.
Exactly.
No.
It's just like, I have a lot of sympathy for, and as much as I'm trying to put this fan to the side a little bit, because as a fan, I'm just really, not angry, just upset that it hasn't worked out. But if you look at it broadly and subjectively and just looked at what happens, you could have some sympathy for the bloke.
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
He had all sort of mental, sort of health problems as well, which obviously you have to take seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ten Hag, credit to him, he gave him time off.
Yeah.
Which was good management by him, good man management. But it's just some players just aren't just made for the Premier League. You have a look at sort of the best left wingers at the moment. It's Diaz, it's Martinelli.
Yeah.
Grealish, Doku play there.
Yeah.
And as good as they are with ball at feet and dribbling at players, they love the ball in behind and just using their pace and running and being direct.
Yeah.
And Sancho's kind of more sort of technical,
bit slower pace.
Bit slower, yeah. So again, it's a good move for him. It goes back to Dortmund, which he obviously loved. So see what happens with him, and it's a win-win for both parties.
Absolutely, I think Dortmund need a chance to push themselves back up into Champions League contention. I think they're sitting 6th at the moment.
Yeah, 5th or 6th.
Yeah, so a little bit off the pace, and considering how Stuttgart and how well Leverkusen have played, they've got some catching up to do. So I'm not saying a title race or anything like that, but maybe you can propel them back to where they arguably belong.
Get them Champions League football.
Yeah, that'd be a massive thing for them. And then also Ian Matson's made the move across. Someone that, considering I watched a lot of Burnley last season, I was very interested to see how he'd do this season. I hoped he would go back to Burnley and play. Went back to Chelsea, went to play some first team football. Got none of it.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for so many Chelsea players.
Yeah, it's grim there. And he's gone out of Dortmund, had to start because they've got a crisis at left back with internationals and injuries. So goes and plays a solid start for him. Yeah. But I think there's so much talent there.
100%.
There is. 100%. You talk about Frimpong and Grimaldo, same sort of mould here. Really aggressive. He can play as a wing back, he plays as a winger. Very good with the ball at his feet, super composed. And I think it's a $40 million buyout. Yeah. If I'm Dortmund and I think things will go well, I'm buying that.
Yeah. I mean, if he enjoys the league, if he enjoys playing with the team, if he likes the manager, why wouldn't you? Because there's a player there. And if you're Chelsea, it's a win-win again because you're sending a player to Dortmund who are known for developing young talent. But I just feel sorry for the player because he's a guy that should be playing every week. Yeah, should be improving every week. Like what I said last week with Mainu, learning on the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what he should be doing. So hopefully this little loan goes well, and we'll see what happens.
Super talented. It's someone that has to be kept an eye out from. And I just feel like it's a Dortmund sort of player. Just Dortmund sort of signing, young, very skillful, can be put into any sort of mould. He might be put into midfield or the wing in the future as well. You never quite know. But exciting to see two former Premier League players do some work there in their 3-0 win. Back in England quickly, just EFL sort of stuff. 2 teams contrasting ways, but touched a bit of Wrexham last week. I'll touch them again this week. They are now a game behind and 2 points behind top of League 2.
Stockport, I think
Stockport are top at the moment, and we're not counting losing the manager. I forgot his name, very good manager. He's left to pick a bigger job high up the leagues. It feels like they're going to be the team that might do it again. Like the double promotion happens a lot, I think. It's how you can continue
decent
that.
Amount,
but it seems to be very sustainable at the moment. And with Wrexham, because of all the publicity around it and a bit of Deadpool action going on here, is it actually going to work? I guess it's a promotion to say that this can actually happen. And I've touched on Bournemouth a fair bit and that American backing, and obviously they've got all the Saudi backing and stuff like that. Yeah. It's exciting to see obviously Wrexham do what they're doing because it's an old club. Yep. But I think we might start seeing now more American investment. I mean, we talked about last week how if you come up from the championship, you're so far behind in terms of money, expenditure, and big quality of facilities. If we start seeing this happen more, like Tom Brady's bought a part of Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Ed Sheeran's bought a part in Ipswich. We'll talk about this in a few seconds' time. Like, maybe this is the way teams try and bridge that gap. Yeah. See how successful Wrexham have been, like bossing League 2, bossed the non-league system last year, record-breaking points. I guess first, I guess on the club, and then secondly, the second question would be about, I guess, ownership. Do you see them continuing this, I guess, Hollywood run all the way up the leagues? Do you see them getting halted anywhere? And what do you see the future going to be like in terms of American ownership or celebrity ownership?
I think, I think more sort of celebrities are getting involved. Like we saw Michael B. Jordan
with Bournemouth. Yeah.
So I think more celebrities are starting to buy a stake, or you know, in not just Premier League clubs, but League One clubs, League Two clubs, which is good, right? We want sort of more investment in football.
Yeah.
You know, we want teams from lower leagues. Like I love seeing teams from the Championship, like Ipswich, like coming up to the Premier League because it's good. Like Luton this year has been so fun watching them, right? I think with Wrexham, like I do hope they get promoted. I think it'd be just a good story.
Yeah.
But like going up to League One, they'll be next year.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be like, they'll be up
Keep
the top.
going.
I think they're gonna have to invest more, and like they've got some. Having players like Ben Foster come into your club, I know he's like 38, 40, but he's still a quality goalkeeper and good enough for like, you know, the like National League or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I think if they can, like, they got some decent players. They got Chris Mullen up front, who every time I look at a Wrexham game, he's always kind of scored or done something.
Mullen.
They've
got some League One quality players.
Yeah, they do. They have some good players.
Some serious players.
Yeah.
That's what investment does though. And I don't know if it's going to like ruin the whole authenticity of like, we got the, like Luton. Luton haven't had this $1 million investment. They've just sort of naturally worked their socks off to go up the leagues from non-league all the way up. I don't know if it's going to ruin that whole part of it, but maybe that's the way the future goes. Like all the teams in England have to have that sort of backing and that background to, you know, force them up the table, because otherwise, like we said last week, you'll have this problem where you'll just be like rebounding up and down with the Prem, because the Prem clubs are set. They've got billionaires.
Like Norwich, for example.
Yeah.
Like,
just what can you do?
Yeah, they come up and like they've got some decent players that are good for the Championship, but you need strong investment, big investment. And I know Luton haven't like really invested, but again, like they've got their ground is so hard to play, and they've got a great manager. Rob Edwards,
he's one of the top managers in the league.
Really good.
Yeah.
If I was Crystal Palace, a team like that, I would be keeping a close eye on him.
His rise to fame, I guess you can say, is quite ridiculous, because he got Forest Green up in League Two, I think, 3 years ago. Yeah. And the fans hated him for that, because he left that project to join Luton and then got them up. And he just taken every step. And we talked about it recently with like Ivan Toney in terms of like taking each step up the football pyramid, like Vardy and these guys. It's like they're just made for each step they go. And it feels like Rob Edwards is just made to keep jumping these steps. And in a similar mold to Eddie Howe, you might have a similar sort of rise in his career, because I think me and Flynn touched it yesterday. I think Eddie Howe sort of maxed himself out a little bit, but Rob Edwards, I think, has a few steps like Palace, or maybe like hypothetically West Ham, or if they continue to try and like try some new things, he could, you know, make that push to be a sort of a top half sort of manager, because he's got the ideas, he's got the mindset, and with a few more quality players in the squad.
I think there's more to his management. Like he's playing this defensive, sit back, counter attacking football because he has to, because they don't have the budget, they don't have the players. But like there's moments in games, even against Liverpool, like they'll keep the ball quite well and actually move it forward. Yeah. So if he can get like a team like Palace with some good young talent, some decent Premier League players like Joachim Andersen at the back, you know, some decent midfielders in Decore and stuff. Like he could actually be a good manager. Yeah. And he already is, but he could be more expansive with how he sets up his team.
People can find his name anymore. Yeah. I think especially that's the thing what we're saying, like there's a lot of good managers in here. You should find them out of the lower leagues.
Yeah, there's a lot
going on in the lower leagues.
A lot of talent there.
That leads me to my next point about Ipswich. Like Kieran McKenna, the former United assistant under Ole, gets his gig, and then Carrick's gone to Middlesbrough. He's doing a decent job there. Good finish last season. McKenna's gone to Ipswich, and they were flying, like absolutely flying around first, sitting in second. Had a little halt as of recently, and this sort of, I guess, backtracks our point prior. They're not the big dudes like the Southamptons or Leeds that are right behind them, and you know, like West Bromwich Albion as well around the area as well. Not the big clubs that have had the payment from the Premier League as of recent years. Do you see them? I think they've won 1, drawn 4, and lost 1 in their last 6 games. So come to a standstill basically. Yeah. Do you think they can hold on to this automatic qualification for the Premier League?
I think it's going to be hard just because Southampton and Leeds have that sort of know-how about how to get into the Prem. I mean, the Championship is probably the most competitive league in the world. Yeah. I mean, the gap between 6th to about 13th, 14th is like 3 points.
It's ridiculous.
It's mental. Yeah. And then you got teams in like 15th, 16th that are only like 5-6 points off.
Not far
6.
off. Yeah.
So it's a ridiculously hard league with teams that have sort of the same same amount of kind of quality.
Yeah.
It's just sort of tactics and sort of moments which sort of separate it. And like they didn't lose that, they drew 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And that set them back big time. Yeah. Leicester, I think Leicester lost their last game. They 1-0 up and then they got a red card and it all kind of went.
Yeah.
But I think Leicester are guaranteed. I think the quality, like they've got like Dewsbury Hall's a good player.
Yeah.
They've got Premier League players, Harry Winks, Connor Cody's there.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they're already promoted, but
they're winning it.
Ipswich, I don't know. It's 3 points to Southampton at the minute.
3 points to Southampton and a further 2 more. I think it was to Leeds. Yeah,
I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll. Yeah. I think maybe Southampton will pip them for promotion.
Yeah, because it's just a league where they've got the big boys.
It's such a hard league to predict.
Because
generally anyone could be anyone. Like even like.
Well, Plymouth started the season alright, and they've dropped out of 19th.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the league it's at. Like even Sunderland playing well this season, Watford around the place, and like it's just so deep. And Coventry City's back. Yeah, they're the one that beat Leicester, I think, on the weekend. Yeah, you've got all these teams that just had their little runs and their moments. Like Coventry were in the playoff last season. They're in 6th. They're finally coming good again. It's just such a deep league, and I think
it's such a hard league to get.
If they're going to go through, it's like I said the last point. I think it's McKenna's management, because he's brought a different sort of foreign style, the Championship in terms of really aggressive, front-footed, high tempo, high possession style of football that in the Championship normally it's just about grinding out results because you play 48 games. It's about just grinding results as much as possible.
Yep.
And he's brought a high tempo, high pace game that has seen success, but I don't know now if it's maybe starting to backfire a little bit on his team.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe just find their level a bit.
Yeah, they've only lost 3 games.
Yes.
But the problem is they've drawn 7.
Yes, that's the problem.
So, like, Leicester have lost 4, Southampton have lost 4, Leeds have lost 6. But they're just, like, some, like, nil-nils are costing them. Yeah. And I don't know if it's
a tough run as well.
Maybe not being brave enough. Maybe just kind of, we'll take a draw here instead of maybe going for it. But, like, they're still in a good position. They've still got that 3-point gap.
Yeah.
If they go on a bit of a run, can they catch up to Leicester? Potentially, but I don't really think so. I think Leicester are pretty much promoted already. Yeah. But Preston could get promoted. Like what I mean? Like it's they're in 12th. It's just a ridiculous league. Yeah. And it's every year it's this close.
Always some.
It's never like a year off where like the top 4's clear and then you have like it's just every year from 3rd till about 18th.
There's always a team that can do something. Yeah. And you always see the stories of teams like under Carrick relegation with Middlesbrough, and they turned it around to be a playoff team. It's just that's what I love. I love watching the Championship playoffs. They're 12. I think they're just around the place.
They're around as long as you're around the mark.
Yeah, and with Carabao Cup semis against Chelsea to worry about, there's a lot of other things going on.
I can have a big chance in that one.
They could nick that one as well,
because Chelsea can barely score these days, so
they can't score a goal from open play to save their life. So we always have to keep an eye on the EFL. We'll keep you guys updated as much as possible, but there's always something happening there.
Always something.
Really exciting for Wrexham and really exciting for Ipswich. If you can, once again, keep starting these new teams. I'm a fan of having new teams doing.
I love it.
Doing successful things.
Norwich, West Brom, you had your time. Yeah. Let's get Ipswich,
Southampton,
Coventry.
Get stuffed. Yeah, Cov come up there.
I wouldn't mind Sunderland again though.
I'd love to see it. Just for the derby as well. Just see a Premier League.
Maybe another Sunderland till I die.
Yep.
Coming out.
Give them a docket. We'll get welcome to Wrexham. Sunderland till I die. Yeah. Give us a Coventry show as well. Why not? Let's chuck all of them in there. Yeah. Just to finish it off as well. Again, back to Spain again. Spanish Super Cup semi-final. Atletico went down 5-3 to Real, but Griezmann scored the record-breaking goal. Yep. Now is all-time leader into the Atletico goal scorers. Funny one with him. I've reading a lot of things about him, and another player that really goes under the radar, underrated, probably had one of the best 2023s in terms of after that World Cup. Ridiculous for Atletico. Got them out of a rough spot, got them to a Champions League top 4 spot. Massive for France in that World Cup. Obviously with Mbappe, you just get covered up a little bit. And then you also see what he's done for France in the qualifiers, unbeaten in Euro qualifiers. This is the guy that I think that, like similar to Coutinho, that Barca move sort of killed the whole reputation he'd built as one of Europe's best before he left for Barca. Good start there. But then again, they bought him to try and appease Messi. But then what happened was they both tried to play the same and it just didn't work. And it's just unfortunate because they need to win back the Atletico fans. I still think his reputation is a bit taunted. There. But still will go down, I think, as La Liga, one of the Liga's best evers and also Atletico's best ever. Like, if he hadn't moved to Barcelona, we could be seeing maybe Atletico's best ever player in their history.
Yeah, 100%. You see, like, when he was sort of coming up for Atletico, he had Prime Suarez, he had Benzema, Messi, Ronaldo. So all the talk was about them. Yeah. And he was just sort of, he's always been that player that's kind of flown under the radar. It's like when you watch, like, obviously, if like French football love him. Like, France, they absolutely love him. He plays pretty much all their games. He's been part of the successful era, obviously winning the World Cup, getting to a Euros final. World Cup final, sorry. Another World Cup final.
World Cup final.
Yeah.
And they went to a Euro final, didn't they?
Portugal.
Yeah, so they got to another Euros. Yeah.
Shut myself for a minute.
No, but say the ball's in question. No, they definitely made a final. Yeah.
So obviously it was part of that successful era, but even for Atletico, like if you get rid of his sort of tenure at Barcelona, he's been consistently really, really good. Yeah. Always scoring.
Yeah.
A big part of their success when they've been successful under Simeone. Yeah. And Simeone's got the best out of him. He's played to his strength and it's a very good relationship. Even when obviously he went to Barca and then
Simeone was one that welcomed him back.
Won him back
with open arms. Yeah. Like you touched on his consistency. I've got the stats up here just because I wanted to show how consistent he's been. So Sociedad in 10-11, 7 goals, 3 assists. Next season, 7 goals, 4 assists. 10 goals, 5 assists. And then his final year at Sociedad, 13-14, 16 goals and 4 assists. Then makes the move to Atletico, 22 goals and 3 assists. 22 goals, 6 assists. 16 goals, 8 assists. 19 goals, 9 assists. 15 goals, 8 assists. Then the Barca move comes, 9 goals, 4 assists. Next season, a little bit better, 2021, 13 goals, 8 assists. Then makes the move to Atletico that season. But the whole minutes thing, so he never played. He's only got 3 goals and 5 assists in 26 appearances. And then 15 and 17 and then 11 and 3 this season. I think he had more assists than De Bruyne and Messi and was behind goals of Lewandowski, Benzema, and Ronaldo. So last year, in terms of the calendar year, was probably the most consistent player and was yet 20th in the Ballon d'Or rankings.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't it?
And I want to hold my hands up as well. I didn't see him as much of a top player last season, but when I looked at the stats and looked at the impact he's had, when you think about what you say, you think, oh my God,
he's absolutely, there's, when you read about, there's probably 2 seasons that maybe it's a little bit
4 seasons.
But besides that, it's just consistent.
15 goals and plus, 8 assists and plus every year. And in these Simeone years as well, they don't play very aggressive football.
About how defensive
they are so defensive. They're so boring. And this year they're finally playing attacking football. And look, 11 goals and 3 assists. Yeah. And 15 goals and 17 assists last season.
And he's clinical as well.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It's one of those things like Coutinho. Shame he left for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Obviously for him,
he obviously
it's his
really
move.
wanted that
move.
move.
It's his move. But if he had stayed or if he'd got another club, you might be seeing or being talked about as one of the best. To go about it. Because as you said, in France, they love him. The Champs would play him every day.
And rightly so.
Yeah. a hero for them in terms of playing the number 10, playing off the left a little bit. Just, superstar. But had to touch him. 174 goals for the club. Very, very
ridiculous,
impressive.
Isn't it?
And top goal scorer for Atletico is no mean feat as well. Where do you think, again, circling back to that point, where do you reckon he'll rank once he's done up in terms of La Liga? Where does he sit in terms of some of their grades?
He's up there for sure, but the Liga's had
some superstars,
world's best.
Yeah,
up top.
Yeah,
so he's probably the tier below.
Yeah,
but that's no shame.
No,
because of some of the players that have come through Real Madrid and Barca over the years. But probably the tier below. But he's under the radar is 3 words to string about him. But he's been brilliant for Atletico, and just on even the World Cup he was entertaining 2018, doing all them dances and
All the
stuff like
dance
that.
celebration. He never fails to entertain.
Him and Giroud were
That's a
deadly
combination.
combo.
That's a
Deadly,
deadly
yeah.
combination up top. Yeah, just think, yeah, you're right. Maybe you go Messi, Ronaldo.
even like back
Bay.
like Raul. Like I'm thinking like back in like
Oh,
the
like
day.
I'm I9, Raul. All there goes.
Yeah.
All those are clear. But I guess in his generation,
In his generation, he's up there.
yeah,
With
like Suarez.
like Suarez was obviously
Suarez, Neymar,
better.
Bale,
Yeah,
and then maybe chuck him on. Maybe ahead of Bale in that sort of because Bale's only good for what 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah,
Maybe chuck him in that sort of bracket there.
Yeah, definitely in that bracket.
But yeah, it's just a superstar and someone that needs to be talked about and deserves his props at least.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like we did last week, do you want to just do some predictions for the weekend's Premier League action to finish us off? That's what we love around here. We love some Premier League action.
Love our Premier League football. Who doesn't?
First game of the weekend is going to be Arsenal and Palace. Yeah. As Flynn said, the revitalisation of the title charge starts now.
I can see it be an absolute battering, to be honest.
Yeah, battering.
Yeah, I can.
Ooh, not close. Not even at half a sniff of Palace.
I can't see it. I think Arsenal will press the absolute, like they did against Wolves, to be honest.
Yeah, get them hard.
Press the hell out of them. And look, they might go sort of 2-0 up and kind of just go, right, let's just defend and sort of hold on to it. But it just kind of depends what sort of mood they're in. I'd probably go like a 4-0.
Okay, the first big result of the season then it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, rate that. Brentford and Forest up next.
See, Forest might have a bit of
Then you
kick
manage
up the
to bounce.
backside,
Yeah.
and obviously the Chargers as well. So the players will probably be a bit pissed, and Brentford struggling at the minute. If Brentford lose this, they are. I already think they're in trouble, but this could be
the Tony return.
Do you think Frank is in a bit of trouble here?
This is one of those ones again. He's come through the championship and had such a reputation for being so good through that league.
Yeah,
been so good for so long. I think he needs to stop tinkering. Is what I think he needs to do. Stop playing 5 back, 3 back, 4 back. Just pick one and stick with it. Yeah. Ivan Toney being back is going to be a big boost.
Is he back for this game?
He's back for this game. I don't think they win this game, unfortunately. But I think, if they lose maybe another one with a team around the mark, then the pressure starts piling on. But I think what he's done in his resume, you can't sack him.
Yeah, I wouldn't sack him. I think you got to stick with him. Yeah. Because he obviously hasn't had Tony, and Bremer hasn't been there.
Bremer hasn't been there
Visser as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's trying to change to just get something out of the team. Just get something, get a draw, something to be positive about. But, I think a draw, probably a 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, can't really split them.
Gee, next game, Sheffield and West Ham.
Belter of a game.
How many goals?
We're doing a live stream for this, yeah?
Yeah, we'll be here for this one.
Sheffield, probably already relegated.
Yeah, gone.
Definitely gone. Yeah. I think this is a danger game for West Ham. Sort of kind of just going there, sort of expecting just to get a goal.
They're a counter-attacking team. They'll have all the ball.
Yeah.
Can they do it without Kudus and with the ball at their feet? Can they actually create enough? That's the thing.
This is where you need Paqueta and Bowen to just
masterclasses.
Just be the standout.
Yeah.
Which is what they should be. I'll still go probably 2-0 West Ham.
Yeah, I think very similar.
But again, they can't take it lightly.
Yeah, danger game.
I mean, Sheffield could have easily, when Liverpool were winning 1-0, they could have easily they had a couple of corners. So you never know.
This game, I think, the next two are probably the biggest of the weekend. I think this will be a danger game as well. Yeah. Bournemouth at home hosting Liverpool.
Very nervous.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, obviously, we're missing a couple of players due to AFCON, and obviously we've got a bit of a left-back cross at the minute. Trent's not going to be there.
No Trent either.
I think we recorded last week, and then the Wednesday when I woke up, Trent was injured. I think we're giving him praise.
We'll praise him how good he was.
And then he got injured.
Conor Bradley's going to be in there.
I mean, I'm fine with our defence. It's just, I think if Bournemouth score first, I think it's going to be very hard for us to get back in it.
Hard place to play at the moment as well.
I know we did it against Fulham.
Yeah.
But, again, we got a bit lucky with the deflection. You're not going to get that every game. We still played decent against Fulham, but... Bournemouth, they play good football. Iriel's a very good manager. Obviously, Solanke's a threat.
Yep.
Van Dijk and probably Kanata, I'd imagine, have to take him seriously. They got some good players behind him as well, like Semenyo. I think underrated, probably one of the most underrated players in the league.
Absolutely, yeah.
Clivert's there. They got a defence that,
it's solid
battered and bruised and will just do anything. Neto's a decent keeper, so... Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one, this one.
I'll go 3-1 to the Reds still.
3-1. Okay, yeah, I think I had a 2-1 top of my head, but yeah, it was gonna be that sort of game.
I'll go 3-1 to Liverpool.
Score win for Liverpool. I think that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Start's gonna be huge.
Yeah, you don't want to be coming from behind yet again. I think.
Yeah.
That would
no, wouldn't want to go 1-0 down in this one.
Not in this one, yeah.
No.
And then the final game of this match week, believe it or not, is Brighton and Wolves. I'm very excited for this game as well. Two teams.
Good game.
Brighton on the up, I think, with a few players coming back. Estupinian's now back. Seeing Gross in midfield again. And then Wolves, obviously, we know how dangerous they can be. How are you seeing this one sort of panning out?
Yeah, I think this will be a really good game. I think both teams play good football. Obviously, Brighton have got a couple of players back, like you said, with Estupinan, and they're getting back into form as well.
Yeah, they're looking a bit better.
Main thing. But Wolves, Hwang Hee-chan's been ridiculous. He's got like 10 league goals this season, which is a joke. He's been really good.
They lose him, but they get Neto, right? So it's not like
they
the
do
biggest
get Neto.
thing.
Yeah,
but without Hwang, it's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, without him, I'd probably say a 2-1 Brighton.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think very similar. Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me if Wolves were to go there and get a result, because I think Gary O'Neill's a top manager.
One of those ones again.
They got some players that are playing pretty well at the minute.
But it's a good solid back line as well.
Exactly.
Very solid at the back.
Yep.
Again, another 5-game weekend. Not a fan.
Yeah,
but
let's get back to this full. When do we get back to the?
I've no idea.
31st of January.
We've got the
end of the month.
Because we've got them midweek fixtures to follow. I'm not a. I want my like 4 games on a Saturday. Give me some.
Yeah, I know. We've got Thursday, the 1st of February, Liverpool, Chelsea at 4:15.
Yeah, not a fan of that at all.
Not having that.
No sleep here for us.
Not having that.
That brings this week to an end, mate. Thank you once again for jumping on. Massive talking points. Always something happening in the world of football. We said about transfers.
Yep. Football
only got
stops.
a little bit this week, but hopefully next week we have a few more.
Hopefully.
As the month that it comes to an end. So definitely be there for that. Thanks for jumping back on. We might see you soon enough, whether it be live streams or once again the couch. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for all the support in last week's midweek podcast. Can we beat it? That's my challenge.
Just keep it going. Come on.
Yeah, 300 this week.
300.
Come on. 300, here we go. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Share on Spotify, 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you guys very, very soon for another podcast. Till then, see you later.